G'day everyone and welcome back to NS2HD. In this video I want to talk about frame rates in NS2 beta, and that's why the screen on your left doesn't look very much like what you'd expect to see in an NS2HD video. Instead, it's actually a camera recording of my screen while playing NS2. And the reason I want to bring this to you is because I can show you the Fraps frame counter without any Fraps recording lag. You see, I record all my videos at 30 frames per second, so I thought I'd show you what the game really runs at when I'm not recording, because I have had a few comments saying, hey, NS2HD, the frame rate looks pretty low in this game you're recording. Is it because the game is crap? But there you go, that is what happens when I actually start recording. It drops all the way down to 30 because that's what I record at, because that is the maximum frame rate of YouTube, so there's no point in recording anything more. It'll just strain my system for no reason. So here you can see I'm actually playing as a Marine and it's still at 30, but look what happens when I turn Fraps off. There we go, the game stream has disappeared and now full screen on the video recording, and we're still up around 50 frames per second, over 50, up towards 60 around a Marine start. This is a 19 player game, this is by no means an empty server, it's a 19 player, a 20 player game. 18 players. Now, for real, it's actually an 18 player game, I remember now. So absolutely full of people and full of game assets, and now you can see here it just falls off a cliff when I turn Fraps on and is now down to 25. So Fraps magnifies the frame rate drop. Right now with Fraps off, we're probably looking at 40 FPS. Here's a recording side by side again, and I will turn it off. There's no real way I can show you how smooth it is. This is being recorded in 50 frames per second interlaced, but of course YouTube is just gonna drop it down to 30 frames per second again. So I really can't show you what is going on. But here is me running down and fighting a little bit in crevice, and I want to show you something else. This is what happens when I apply motion blur to those 30 frames per second. There you go, there it is with motion blur. I'm only going to do that once, so if you want to see it again, replay that part of the video. And here we go again without motion blur. So, for example, in NS2HD number 300, I applied motion blur, and now I'll just continue on the video without repeating it again. But motion blur blurs the frames and basically allows you to give the impression of smoother motion. It's what happens in movies because they leave the shutter open for longer than necessary to simply capture the frame. A lot of movies are filmed in 24 frames per second. In fact, almost every blockbuster movie is in 24 frames per second, and the shutter remains open to give motion blur, and that's why it looks so smooth. And that's exactly what I do with cinematic style videos like 300. I never do that for informative videos. I mean, I've only done it for maybe 5 videos in total. That's add motion blur. So you can rest assured that what you see is what you get at 30 frames per second in NS2 if you play it. It is not, however, the maximum frame rate you will see. As you can see in the early stage of this video, I gave evidence, cold hard evidence of what Fraps does to my frame rate when I record NS2 for you. And locking it, clamping it at 30 FPS doesn't help either, but that's because of the limits of YouTube. And motion blur I added in there just to show you what happens when I add it, so you can compare two scenes with and without. That was that was 90 degrees of motion blur, which means 1/4 of the movement of each pixel between frames is blurred. I know that sounds complicated, but that's what it is, and I wanted to be open and upfront about you and saying I only add that to very cinematic videos, and it's very obvious when I do add it, and that's why those videos seem smoother than the 30 FPS that you are used to. Anyway guys, that is it from me for now. I'll bring you some build 187 gameplay in future. It's a really playable build, as you can see from this game footage. Actually, you know what, I think I might just keep going with this video for a little while because this is some great play. We had Tog Mako he wasn't the commander, but he was being a great team player because he was giving great instructions. Commander, I don't think had a microphone and was just being he was being a really good commander for a commander without a microphone. He was just dropping what was needed and really allowing Mako to take the lead in terms of tactical orders and tactical instructions, and that's what Mako is doing right now. He's giving great instructions to the team about what we should be doing, but he was always very polite to the commander, and I have a lot of respect for Mako after playing with him in this game, and I'd like to use him as an example of how you can play civilly as a team member while you have a commander who's perhaps not as aggressive with his orders. Maybe he's being a bit quiet, and maybe he's making a few little mistakes. Maybe it's his first go as commanding, and what Mako was doing was being very polite and saying to the commander,
a lot of alien interest in this area, so we'll keep some people here, but we also need to keep our resources up in other areas of the map. So I'm going to go check ventilation.
There's him talking right now. That's why I've shut up for a moment there. There's him talking. He's being very polite, and he says to the commander that, hey commander, I think we need to drop some assets here. You should probably start with a power pack, then an armory, then some sentry guns, and an extractor. And that's what the commander did. And I think the fact that Mako asked politely plays a big part in that. Instead of saying, hey commander, you're being an idiot, you need to drop this stuff, and hey commander, why aren't you talking over the microphone? It's just being polite about it, and that makes a huge difference when you're playing, and I believe that's why the Marine team was doing so well, and they've got a great bunch of people just listening to each other and doing what needed to be done. I got absolutely annihilated there by that stop. Great ragdoll animation onto the unbuilt sentry gun. So that's enough about talking about being polite in NS2, which I maintain can get you places and can get you to winning games. As an aside, Mako will be playing in the NS2HD beta tournament. Can't wait to see TOG, which stands for the older gamers and is a clan only open to people with who are, I believe, 25 years or older. They will be playing in the tournament. I can't wait to see them play. I think there'll be a great exhibit of team play. Anyway, build 187 is, I believe, eminently playable. Build 186 had a few game-breaking bugs, aliens spawning, and the flamethrower lag were those game-breaking bugs. But with build 187, we appear to have moved beyond those, and this game is playing very smoothly. This is a very late game, and it is an 18-player server. So 9 players on either side, and we're just not seeing the kind of lag that you could expect with older builds. Even back in builds, say 181 or 182, you could expect a lot of lag with a server this big, and we're just not seeing it. And that's the incremental but inexorable progress that we've been seeing with these builds since the dawn of the NS2 engine test, way back before the alpha, which you can see in NS2HD #1 if you want to hear a retard commentating. Not that I've improved much, but really, the first video was atrocious. You can go back and check that out. Here's the flamethrower in action. I thought I owed it to you guys to bring you some flamethrower because of Schimmel and his new effects. Schimmel is not an NS2 developer, but he took a great interest in the lure coding of the flamethrower and the effects coding of the flamethrower, and he's come up with these new effects, and he's done a great job. You can see you get some residual flames on the ground, spreads out against flat objects such as walls, so it just really makes the flamethrower a lot cooler to use. You still don't have the trailing flames. That, of course, will come in future, but this is a great little addition. Schimmel also did the new infestation that you can see on the ground, the higher resolution texture along with the 3D bubbling. Sorry, wait, we do have flame, we do have trailing. What am I talking about? I'm being an absolute idiot. We do have trailing, but it's kind of like the infestation in that it's a big visual upgrade to something that we will probably see even more upgrades to later on. So the new flamethrower is just fantastic to use. Here comes a fade. I'm going to set him on fire. And that is a great example of teamwork. It wasn't me that killed that fade. I got the points, but what actually happened there was my teammates blasted him with shotgun and rifle rounds, and that's what killed him. I just set him on fire and got lucky with the final hit point dropping on him due to him being on fire, thanks to me. So the flamethrower is now just so much fun. Also, a big thing to note is the ammo counter in the bottom right now works. It was previously just a static 2D texture that did nothing, but now watch it as I flame. Wait for it any second now. I'm going to burn something. But the top bar above the big thick bar is your total ammo, and the big thick bar is the ammo in your current canister. I guess it's full of gas. I guess that's what it would be full of, and that is what is in there. Anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this. That is it for this video, and I will of course bring you more build 187 in future, including a proper changelog and gameplay video. But I hope you got something out of this video. I'll see you all soon for more NS2HD videos.